Hello, and welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. I think we've got everything set up. So it's nice and sunny today, as you can see behind me. So maybe some traffic or some people viewing cherry blossoms. That's still well underway. There's a whole kind of extended season because even if you miss the standard, I don't know the name of the breed, but the the kind of the more white kind of fluttery cherry blossoms, there's kind of more pink and kind of pom-pom looking later in the season cherry blossoms. So some places in the area that have viewing, the viewing is extended almost a month because you have early and late as well as the standard stuff. So yeah, so people have something to look at no matter when they get here. And that's good because it's really hard to hit that sweet spot all the time. The regular viewing time is not very predictable. It just depends on mostly the temperature. So that helps. That helps a bit. And a lot of the older, the temples and the more historic places have a big variety of types of cherry trees. So you get the extended season if you go to some of the more out of the way beautiful places. But it seemed pretty busy this year. I don't know what this is. Let's try to change that. There we go. But yeah, so just finished the joy of double taxation. The American Tax Day was Monday, so that was fun. I get to do that twice a year instead of just the once. But yeah, not fun. So I'm just kind of warming up and trying to come up with some interesting objects. Yeah, I had an idea, but I don't know if it's gonna work. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so this is the early morning, my earliest day, and there's just not enough coffee to keep me, because this used to be, of course, the regular streaming day. I want to come straight out of my early morning work to stream, and would be very caffeinated, so it would go well for about 30 minutes. And then eventually I'd be so tired that I would just stop talking and just struggle to get things done. But yeah, let's see how this works. A little more broken and a little less bitten, I think, is what I wanted to go for here. Yeah, so first thing I read this morning in the news is that the Notre Dame Cathedral is on fire. So that was lovely news. And the funny thing about people dying or tragedies is many people see it as an opportunity to show their relationship or their connection to that thing. So of course social media is just full of people's pictures of themselves in Paris, and oh yeah, we saw this, yeah, we were there, we're close personal friends with this cathedral. Just like when people died, I mean, when Stan Lee died, it was just everybody pulled out their picture, and that man took a lot of pictures with a lot of people. So, yeah, everybody's got their Stan Lee picture to post. But yep, any opportunity to flex those narcissistic tendencies is what people do. I really don't understand what motivates people. Well, I mean, yeah, they just want the likes. They just want, yeah. Oh, my heart goes out to the people of France, and here's my vacation photo there because, you know, I was there, so like me. And that's the funny thing that, you know, when people dying or tragedy, for a while, Facebook, you know, only had its like thing. So people would say, oh, my, you know, cousin died, or, you know, my dog died, or whatever, and people liked it. So that was a very weird tone, and it didn't quite do what people wanted to do. Now they've got those crying emojis and everything else to change your like into a sympathetic, you know, wail and a burst of tears. So that's fun. Yeah, something like this might work. Maybe some little pieces too. Still haven't found the perfect spot for that mic. I keep bumping it. I just want to keep it close, but it seems like it's never quite in the right spot. All right. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, something like this. I think I'll do it. So this is here. So these are all cookies. So I can bring them down a little bit. Yeah, I think the proportions are better like that. Okay. I think we'll go with that one for one of them. And let's see what we can do on this page. Oh my. So I did a bunch of miniature painting this weekend. There was a Kickstarter that we were promoting on the podcast channel, and they sent us some samples, and I wanted to spend some time painting, especially because they went out of their way to send them, and they didn't arrive here because it takes so long to get stuff from the US. They didn't arrive until the last day. So I wanted to make sure, show our gratitude for them doing that, and spend some time painting. And they're great old school metal miniatures, so nice detail, but still like old school aesthetics, you know, like the proportions have that, you know, hand sculpted old school feel, not the a lot of the more modern miniatures have the real scale. So when with a 28mm miniature, you know, you're getting really, like, wrists and ankles are crazy thin, and if you have somebody in high heels, it's insane. It's insanely delicate and insanely miniature. And these are more the, you know, chunkier old school, like, you know, bigger heads and arms and legs, and had that satisfying look of the old Dungeons and Dragons miniatures. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. So if you go to the Idle Red Hands Instagram, you can see a few of those kind of work in progress. I didn't finish anything. I did almost 4 hours of streaming and went from opening them to assembly to basing to or not basing. There weren't bases. They had there's no plastic bases. They had already the the old school kind of, you know, slab that fits the shape of the character, but mounting them. Oh, sorry. Mounted them on little paint handles and painting them. So I did just the flats and a wash. That was all I had time or the energy to do. So, but yeah, I got some pictures of them, and they just great. They look so good painted, and I can't wait to finish up the details. So hopefully I'll get some time coming up here and finish those off. But let's keep going here. Yes, that was really fun. So that was Tomb Guardians miniatures that sent us some nice samples of their work. And it's nice, the choice of the kind of character. So is a like a vampire faction. So there's a vampire queen, but then all of her and I couldn't remember this on the last stream. Last time I was streaming, what is the name for the vampire kind of slaves? They called them slaves in the series, but that vampire, there's a word for it. I can't think, but yeah. So a vampire's people that they have under their control. I don't remember. Yeah, maybe it'll come to me if I keep thinking about it. Why am I'm doing the same pot again? Okay, let's just keep going here. Oof, it's looking weird. I should get this straightened out a little first. I watched the final season premiere of, oh, there we go, Game of Thrones yesterday after I finished my taxes. So that was better than I expected. I really did not like the last season at all. It was just, the writing was really weird. You can tell that they're just way beyond George R.R. Martin's text, because the characters don't sound like themselves and their motivations are different. I mean, it's the actors, you know, it's all the same actors still playing them, so they look like the characters that they're supposed to be, but some of them just don't, you know, say what they used to say or have the same. And I guess I've seen a few reasons for that. The show, you know, to try to slim down that ridiculous, you know, cast of characters. They killed off some people that didn't die in the book and books, and they kind of combined people or put characters in certain roles that they wouldn't have been in, like Tyrion is a big example, and so he's not clever anymore just because he's more of a background character now, and so that's kind of odd because he was such a major character in the first few seasons. But yeah, it's okay. I was just happy to see two female characters meet that didn't instantly fall in love with each other and, you know, bond as sisters. That was getting old too. I think season 6 had a lot of that. Every female character that met was just like, hey, we're in this together. Very odd. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, this is it. This is their big finale. They got to do whatever they're going to do. They got to do it. And so I'm just curious how it's going to go. But I've definitely fallen in love, out of love with the show more recently. And especially as there was just such a weird push. I remember reading something about somebody saying that, like, there were, you know, studios that were basically just putting cast photos of Game of Thrones in the hands of all of their execs or casting agents or whatever, and said, we want these people, you know, come up with projects to put these people in. So it was a big push to put Game of Thrones people in, I guess, because they have some downtime, you know, between seasons, and just a little bit too much, and nobody did anything good at all. Like, there really wasn't any characters from Game of Thrones that did a project that was worth even them doing. It was just capitalizing on their momentary fame. But that was odd. That was really odd. And especially the characters that got killed off, they got work. I think, is it The Mandalorian has some dead Game of Thrones cast members in it? I can't remember. But something. But they're still getting work. They still got the hotness from that show, I guess, the heat. And I was surprised, though, somebody was talking about, you know, this may basically be the end of this kind of prestige television, you know, that started with The Sopranos on HBO. So Game of Thrones is HBO show, so this might be the end of it, because whoever just took over as CEO or whatever the last mandate they got, they said, you know, we want quantity over quality. Let's stop with these, you know, ridiculously expensive, hard to produce shows and just start cranking things out. So let's make HBO into YouTube. And so we're probably going to get, you know, reality shows and improvised shows and all kinds of nonsense coming out just to fill their some quotas that they think they need to fill as far as how to keep people, you know, tuning into a streaming service. And that might be the thing, is they're trying to turn HBO Go into a you know, viable like streaming competitor. But whatever, sounds like a really bad idea. That's basically all they had going for them, and hopefully someone notices this misstep and you know, capitalizes on it, one of the other services or whatever, and just says, okay, we should go more premium, more prestige, more bigger budget with some nice projects that people are actually going to enjoy, instead of stuff that people barely tolerate, because that's the thing Netflix is really falling into. There's so much garbage. They get the rights to just a bunch of international garbage that nobody would want to watch. And because I'm watching Japanese Netflix, just nonsense, a bunch of nonsense gets thrown up on there. I don't know what audience they're actually looking for, but you know, you get a lot of Indian television and British television and, you know, all kinds of Spanish and French programming. It's just like, this is it, really? This is the best that they do? I think this is just the easiest that you know, the easiest thing you could afford, kind of thing. It just doesn't feel like it's being very well curated. Let's see here. How does the spoon go? Okay, from this, we need to kind of go. I think I did a weird angle too. Kind of a little bit weird. Oof, something like that. Yikes. Yeah, I got the tablet a little low, so I can't see my keyboard, and it's a new keyboard, so I can't feel my way around it like the old one. But yeah, so that was okay. I mean, that show, I can't even imagine what the budget for one episode of Game of Thrones is anymore. And it was kind of like that with Sopranos too. Everybody's salaries per episode got so out of control. It's just like they had to stop making the show just because no one was going to be able to afford it soon. Or, you know, they weren't not going to be able to afford it soon. Sorry, I can't see. But yeah, that seems to be the biggest consequence of success, is that if you got to start negotiating, like, you know, like Simpsons, I can't believe that thing is still going, and they're still paying out ridiculous amounts for the voice acting. Although I think I read last year or something that Harry Shearer is gone. He didn't renew. That's crazy, because yeah, his voice is One of the most wonderful things about old Simpsons, along with Phil Hartman. All right, so this and this. Let's just merge those. Oh, that works better than I thought. I don't know what that is, though, so let's not get too excited. All right. Now let's try. Let me turn some of this off. Where's that? Okay. So I just had a stupid idea, which I'm going to try to stupidly draw. What am I doing here? Yeah, I guess I'm trying that. Let's see if I can get this scale right here. The light bulb's a little long. I think I'll shorten it up and yes, so something silly like that. Okay, so let's start coloring. Let's see what we can come up with here. Maybe a weird. Oof. Okay, we'll blow out the color a little bit to get something nice. Yeah, and then kind of a pink band on that. Back on the color layer. All right, and then back up here. All right, I think that works. Let's try some Shading, maybe bring this down a little bit. Get that more printed effect. I can't remember if I've done this kind of stupid thing before. It doesn't feel too familiar, so that's good. That's always good. Yeah, I don't think I've recognized the same joke before. But I've drawn the same thing before. I saw that Starbucks cup once that I had done. Okay, I think we got to go with some gray. Oh, actually, it's kind of bluish, huh? Let's try that. The printing on the top of the light bulb. Even though if they have that anymore. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, and a little bit of rendering on the light bulb. All right, and a little. Oh, I already did that actually, didn't I? That's where that comes from. Shiny up the box a little bit. Let's see. No, I think that's good enough. Okay, so the light bulb is good. So let's put, not that, let's do this and this. Oh, maybe that makes more sense. Yeah, actually it does, and then I should probably change how the light bulb is doing it. More like this. All right, something like that. See how that works. Boom, boom. Kind of weird. There we go. Maybe that's better. Okay. That in. Okay. And maybe one more. Oh. Why do I keep blurring that eye? It's weird. It's weird. There we go. All right. Let's move these up a little bit and over. And actually, we clean that up a little. All right. So there's one of our ideas. Yeah, I don't have an idea for this. It's not enough of an idea, I think. Let's see what happens. Actually, I think I want to do blue. Quite that blue. All right. Oh, actually, I do a light blue, don't I? Try to keep a little consistency. There we go. All right. I don't know where that's going, but we'll figure something out. There's a truck for you. In case you wanted some authentic road noise. All right. Oh, maybe in here too. Okay. Oh. All right. There we go. Okay, let's see how this goes. Something like that. Okay. So we are here and here. And, oh, that's actually, looks like it didn't finish. Okay. Okay, so we are right before writing something, so let's switch over to the convenience store for just a moment. All right. Well, this is just a quick one and a little bit of introduction. This is something, it's not really at the convenience store. I'm talking about another store that is now a cake shop and a restaurant. But the company, you can see their mark right here, another lovely retro mark. Oh, it's not going to focus. Fujiya, that cursive F and the print underneath. And there's a big building, I think in Ginza or something, that still has this mark. But Fujiya is a cake shop, confectionery shop, so cake and candy, I guess, from back in like 1910, I believe. I saw the date, and they kind of established themselves in the 50s, but I think the first original store was like 1910, and they did Christmas cakes, and now birthday cakes, and mostly like shortcakes and things. So a lot of different kind of stuff, and I think even like ice cream bars, and yeah. But this is Milky, which is a little candy brand. But Fujiya has this character, which you may have seen before. That's been their mascot, I think, since the 50s, and this is Peiko-chan. So Peiko-chan is the always has her tongue sticking out girl. So I guess everything is just so yummy. So a little kid with bangs and pigtails, and there's a boy version, which is basically just her, I think, without the tongue out, but the boy version with everything but the pigtails, and named Poko-chan. So Peiko-chan and Poko-chan, and they are the Fujiya kind of mascots that happened, I think, in the 50s. And yeah, Fujiya is started out as a cake shop, confectionery shop, and then opened restaurants. And there used to be, I think they're starting to close down a little bit as far as the restaurant, but it's just kind of a family restaurant. And of course the feature is that, they've got their cakes and things for dessert, but just a very basic family style hamburger, steak, and, baked chicken kind of family restaurant. And the one thing I noticed about the one in Osaka is all of the employees were international students. So they were all Chinese or Korean students that were the wait staff. But yes, I saw Peiko-chan and wanted to talk a little bit about Fujiya. So there wasn't a big history. They had a scandal in the 80s and 90s. So I'm going to open one of these Milky. So these are just a little sweet, chewy, kind of taffy candies. But they had a scandal, it might have been in the 90s, 80s or 90s, where they were caught using expired milk products, milk and eggs, in their baking. So the president had to step down. But that was the only thing. This is just milky taffy. I'm going to rip my teeth out chewing on this. Well, oh yeah, here's her little, there's her little name right there, Peiko-chan. And these are the milky candies, but these are made by Fujiya. So Fujiya does some candies and ice cream bars, but mostly cakes. And the funny thing, after living in Japan, grocery store birthday cakes and things, most of the bakeries make very sweet cakes in the US. And so here you get used to a very kind of low sweetness and more kind of subtle dessert flavor. But Fujiya definitely, has this kind of old school, way too sweet kind of flavor. And as an adult, it's very unappealing, but I guess it's still kind of good for kids. I think kids still kind of like those cakes. But after you get to a certain age, you can't really eat the desserts at Fujiya because they're very sweet, very more Western style sweet. So a lot of sugar, and not in a good way, kind of oddly oversweet. So mostly what they do is a strawberry shortcake, which is just cake and with layers of cake with whipped cream and then strawberries on top. And that's a very standard cake for people that don't like chocolate. And it also, that's the style of Christmas cake. Christmas cake is usually a strawberry shortcake kind of deal. But that is this character, which you will see everywhere. And these are really milky. Yes, fresh cream flavor. Whoa. Yep, from 1951. Wow. The original milky. They taste very old style. It's a very old flavor. It's a sweet, milky flavor. Taffy. Great. I'm not going to be able to get this out of my mouth. But that's it. And usually when you see the mascot itself for Peiko-chan, and the illustration is just kind of more cute, tiny proportion. I think she's supposed to be like 5 or 6 years old. But sometimes you'll see these really elongated, weird versions of her in the store, these little plastic versions, which are very strange. But that's Fujiya, and there's a lot of things named Fujiya in Japan, but that's probably the most famous is that shop. So that cake shop, Fujiya, strawberry shortcake You'll see that everywhere, and you'll see Peiko-chan everywhere. But they also have, like I'm showing you from the convenience store, some snacks that are branded with Peiko-chan because they have been making candy and cakes for a very long time in Japan. All right, so that is our little trip to the convenience store. Very little. And let's go back to the drawing. All right. So we are back. And her little face is even all over the wrapper. Look at that. Oh, it's adorable. Oh, milky candy. Yeah, I think there's a few milky branded type candies, but it's a very sweet cream taffy. All right. So let's get to some writing here. So this silly idea was going to be, maybe I should have written it down. So the idea for this was going to be, for a moment, hello, there we go. Thought he was having an idea. Getting an idea? For a moment, he thought he had gotten an idea. Was having an idea. For a moment, he thought he was having an idea. For a moment, he thought he had had an idea. Was having. For a moment, he thought he was having an idea. I think that reads a little bit better. For a moment, he thought he was having an idea. We'll go back. There's a funnier way to do that. For a moment, he thought he was having an idea. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. Okay, this one, I just had the phrase broken cookies in my head all day. And broken cookies. Milk and broken cookies. Expired milk and broken cookies. Sour milk, spoiled milk and broken cookies. I like that so far. Spoiled milk and broken cookies. So, comfort milk and cookies as comfort milk and cookies as a childish thing. Sometimes there was only, there could, spoiled milk and broken cookies comforted no one. That's pretty dark and not funny, but it's funny to me because it's so bleak. Spoiled milk and broken cookies comforted no one. I think that's it, because it got a reaction out of me. Spoiled milk and broken cookies comforted no one, and for For a moment, he thought he was having an idea. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's familiar, but I don't know if I might have done that before. The idea, the light bulb gag. I don't know. I have no idea. But I think that's the best we're going to do for today. So for a moment, he thought he was having an idea. Light bulb and spoiled milk and broken cookies comforted no one. Wow. Okay, well, sorry for the day late doing this, but taxes were demanding my attention. Oh, but I will do this again next week. And thank you so much for joining me. And apologies to the patrons on the Patreon. I haven't been updating the feed with the newest or the latest stream, so I'm a few behind. So I will get those up there. So you may get pelted by a few notifications for the patron streams, but they will be up there shortly. And if you'd like to follow Abuse Cartoons or Domestic Abuse, please follow this strip or this cartoon on Twitter at Abuse Cartoons. AbuseCartoons.com is the website. And if you would like to support this cartoon and see more of it and get some things like signed books, original art, things like that, patreon.com/abusecartoons. And thank you so much once again to the patrons, the existing patrons. Your support makes this wonderfully possible, and I can't thank you enough. So I will be back next week with hopefully better than spoiled milk and broken cookies, but nice and bleak, a nice and bleak week for you after you filed your taxes. All right, so I will talk to you soon. I'll talk at you again, and thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye.